morning. Welcome to another episode of SJU. It is I, Danielle Radford, and I am joined by... I don't know how else to introduce myself.
It is I.
It is I. I've come from a land far away to bring you movie news. And I am joined, as per usual, by this lovely crew of dudes. We have got Dan Murrell right over here. We have got Spencer Gilbert, of course.
Hello.
Hello.
And well met. Lo, it is I. Look to the east. The dawn of Wednesday.
And it is, what is it, Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Because we have got Ed Greer with us today.
Yeah, I guess I'm supposed to do an Assassin's Creed thing or something.
Sure.
Yes.
Since we're all medieval. We're getting medieval on their asses
Yes.
this early in the morning. But yeah, thank you guys. I'm happy to be here on my regular day. But now I guess I'll be on Mondays and Wednesdays. So there's two regular days.
Wow.
Y'all, look at this. We're getting so much Ed. It's very exciting.
More Ed than the, oh God, I'm going to blank on his name, Joey from Friends. The movie where he plays baseball with a monkey. Matt LeBlanc.
That's a lot of Ed.
That is a lot of Ed.
How do you feel when that movie came out?
Well, you know, now they call a certain problem ED. So,
Oh, no.
you know what I mean? This is the worst time for
Tough.
Ed. there were times, but this is the worst.
This is the worst. Oh, I got this one. Speaking of Joey, which was a canceled show. Boom!
Gone too soon. There's a vault full of lost Joey episodes somewhere.
I need to see everyone.
They didn't get aired, yeah.
Ah, poor Joey.
Geraldo's going to open it.
Today we're going to be talking about recent cancellations that have been announced, and we're also going to be talking about some of our favorite television shows that have been canceled, how we felt about it, and then story number 3, I'm just going to let it happen upon you as it happens. I don't want to tease that anymore. I think that just has to that has to be our gift to you. So recently there have been a whole slate of cancellations that have been announced. This is from TV Line. They did Sci-Fi's Deadly Class and Happy, Amazon's Sneaky Pete, Netflix's is The Ranch. Other ones included AP Bio, which really bums me out because I thought that show was really good. ABC's Whiskey Cavalier, Netflix's Santa Clarita Diet, Fox's The Gifted, and Lethal Weapon. First of all, if any of these shows, was anyone watching any of these?
I
have not
only saw
seen-
AP Bio of all of them. It's a good show.
It was a really good show.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I've not seen one episode of any of these shows.
Well, see, Dan, this is your
it's-
fault.
There's so much. There's
A lot of
so
TV
much
out there.
TV. There's so much to watch.
There was a lot of TV, and
could
most of
watch
it's really good.
I could watch twice this number of shows and still not get around to having seen these shows.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Oh, I
that's
also
true.
watched one episode of The Ranch and then, 360 and then moonwalked out of my TV room. that was not for me.
Not that show not appealing to the.
Come on, man. Sam Elliott being like a broke down cowboy talking to Ashton Kutcher on an
You
obvious
had me at the
on an
beginning of that
obvious
sentence.
set. No, a really obvious set where there's no livestock anywhere around and they're just talking to each other.
Yeah.
Oh man. look at that.
your cut you're in jail.
Now look, I'm gonna teach you how to be a man in front of this here Matt Payton.
I would have liked it if they acknowledged that they were on a sitcom.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have done a
So
little
yeah,
more.
I don't know a whole lot about The Ranch. Was it a sitcom?
Yeah, there was a laugh
idea?
track. I think I recall it was definitely
Yeah?
a multicam style show about
Right.
a ranch and Kutch and one of the other '70s men.
The one with the hair.
Yeah, ranching out, and but it was like redneck Big Bang Theory. Like it was just
Yes.
the dumbest.
Wow.
It was the most obvious joke you could make, and I don't even know what it's like to be on a ranch, but even I know more about horse puns than they do. It was just bad.
Oh, what a bummer. So out of all of these cancellations, are any of them standing out to any of you the most? Again, for me, a huge one was the AP Bio because that was a great cast. It was great writing. Really
didn't-
solid show.
Yeah, I didn't actually watch AP Bio, but it was one of those that I was like, yeah, I'll binge it because I think it's cool. And it was
Patton
like,
Oswalt,
there you
Glenn
go.
Howerton, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
sort of those things where it's like, why would you
Paula
wait
Pell.
like that? That's why we can't have nice things, as they say. Deadly Class, to me, I watched a couple episodes of the show. I'm a big fan of the book. And I would have loved to see how some of those storylines got explored because, the short pitch is Harry Potter, but with assassins. But it's so much deeper than that. It's so much cooler than that. And it's so much more of a time capsule of certain existence in the 80s, you know, as well. So it's like a metaphor for the Reagan 80s. There's a bunch of assassins clawing all over each other, being quite selfish.
So 80s murder magic college.
Yeah, but no magic, assassin magic.
Assassin magic.
Post Lost, this continues ABC's streak of like whatever show ABC is gonna push at you, whatever show they're gonna put it after the Oscars or
already
if they
know
have
where
the
this is
Super Bowl, whatever show it is, it is
God.
gonna last one season and be like every. It seems like almost every high profile show they've attempted to launch in like the last 10 years has been like a Blackout. Was that like the one where there's like it was their new Lost
everyone
show?
like missed 12
Everyone
minutes
missed
of
12
their
minutes
life.
of time.
Yeah.
Flash forward or something.
7
like
days
that.
of time.
Yeah.
Flash
Forward. There
7
may be
days of
another one
time.
called Blackout. Yeah, 7 Days of Time. Yeah, Flash Forward. V.
Oh, yeah.
Show, yeah,
Ooh.
Whiskey Cavalier, which is maybe the worst name for a show.
It's quite terrible, and I feel like they were trying to hook in some of that because, you know, the lead on that was a huge part of Scandal, and I feel like they were trying to kind of lean in on some of that Shonda Rhimes audience, but there's at least one important element every Shonda Rhimes show has to have that one didn't. And that is a dark-skinned lady. And that's just how it works. If you're trying to get into Shonda Rhimes' audience.
You're right. It's like they forgot because they were pushing it hard during the NBA playoffs. It's like, why this show? What's happening here?
One of my favorite, look it up, every year, or not every year, the last several years, when they have the upfronts, which is when all the TVs come and they present their new programming to the advertisers to sell advertising. Last year, but every year, Jimmy Kimmel comes out and does the ABC upfronts. And before he presents the programming, he just roasts the crap out of the entire network about how stupid everything they did. Like, I guess it's like a thing like, hey, we're hip, we're into it. But I remember, go back and look. Like, he said something last year when they introduced Whiskey Cavalier and they brought the cast out on stage. With the cast sitting there and like the head of development on stage, Jimmy Kimmel says, all right, so should we cancel the show now or should we wait till the cast leaves the stage? And of course the head of TV was just like, oh, Jimmy, you're really going to feel dumb when Whiskey Cavalier's in season 7. And Jimmy's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. It's the stupidest name for a television show I've ever heard. And here we are a year later. Yeah, I mean, that's the one that Maggie is. I'm up to the season finale of The Walking Dead. I've been making incremental progress. I don't know if they brought Maggie back, but this was the show that took Maggie away from. She's been in another room or something for the last season of The Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
She's gone, but she's not gone. So
Okay.
maybe she comes back now. I don't know. But yeah,
And she's got some room in the schedule.
Whiskey Cavalier was like the one they were pushing.
If you
hard.
really
Everywhere.
think the
It was
show's
everywhere.
going to succeed, though, you get killed. Like when Homegirl left Walking Dead for Star Trek Discovery, she was like, "You gotta kill me, dog."
It's the
get out of
natural
here."
way to
hedging
leave
of
The
the
Walking
bet.
Dead.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
not-
and that's a hedge. She just went to camp. She
Yeah.
went to zombie camp to teach some zombie fighters some techniques. Like, where did she go?
Yeah.
So funny. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Went away.
See, that could be, speaking of what we talked about yesterday, that could be the Walking Dead cartoon where you go to zombie camp.
Definitely.
All the kids, it's like Little Rick.
Yeah, they're all walkers.
even tinier Coral.
Baby Coral.
Baby Coral.
Yeah, baby Coral, like kick the baby type baby
Yeah.
Coral. Yeah.
He's the Ike of the Walking Dead camp.
I was thinking more not to bring us too far back to yesterday, but I was thinking that Jurassic World feels like the 90s spin-off cartoon of Jurassic Park. Like,
Oh, it already
like those
did?
movies are the 90s thing. Like, all it's missing is a tiny talking dinosaur that hangs out
Yes!
with Owen and Blue. Is like
Like
and
a-
Godzuki or whatever their Godzuki
A
is.
Cretaceous Slimer, if you will.
Yeah. Look, all
Just missing
we're
a
missing.
tiny dinosaur that only Owen can understand.
Isn't that Blue? He does talk to the dinosaur, and Blue talks back.
I feel like Blue would be like the cool one. He'd be like the Deus Ex Machina that like saves the day at the end of every episode. But he'd be like the Snarf or like the what was the wizard He-Man one? Orko.
Yeah.
They're missing an Orko.
Oh, the T-Rex is on the way.
I think everything is missing in Orko. So, you know, we're talking about all these cancellations. This is one thing where fans, and I'm one of those too, I've been guilty of this, say this is why I don't trust sci-fi about any network that has done cancellations. But now Netflix is canceling everything all the time. So does it feel like there is any network or streaming service that feels that it's safe if the show is on there? And you'll at least get a good ending. No, I don't think anything is really
Nothing's
safe.
safe unless it's you know, unless they buy the whole thing, like the only things that are safe are when they're like limited series, where it's like they have an end date built right in. Otherwise, why would they commit to more than they have to?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I mean, it seems like the destiny of every canceled series is to be ping-ponged between all of these different services until it just... I actually kind of hate that for the people that work on these shows, because it used to be you worked really hard on a show and then the network canceled it, and like that sucks, but with some exceptions, which I think we're going to talk about later, like that's it. Like, it sucks, but that's it. And now it's like your show gets canceled, and there's also now still, if you're on the show, if you're an actor, if you are a fan of the show, there's now like a 6-month purgatory as it like ping-pongs between every single streaming network to see if somebody else might pick it up.
Please, sir. My show is so sick.
Yeah. And Crackle's like, we're waiting for you, man. Chicken soup for the soul.
So, I hate that it's not even final when it's canceled anymore. Like, you have to wait to be turned down by 15 more people.
And keep their fans in suspense.
And keep the fans in suspense.
And petitioning and buying Starbucks or whatever they do to bring a show back these days.
I guess sometimes it's nice that there's a little hope, but it also rarely works out great.
Right.
So, like, as an Arrested Development fan,
Yeah.
I'm not really so sure that it
There they
being
are.
saved by Netflix ultimately was the best thing for the legacy of the show.
Right.
There's a whole half season that exists that I have not watched.
Same.
Yeah.
And I'm a
Because-
huge fan.
Well, and that was the exact point I was going to make about, like, you want these things to come back so bad, but it's like Pet Cemetery.
Sometimes dead is better.
Yeah, sometimes that's better, bro. They come back, they're all weird. They want to bite your ankles.
Yeah, it's the same thing with dead musicians. Like, do we want to see like Tupac in a Tyler Perry movie?
Yes.
Do we want to see like?
That specifically, yes.
Yeah, okay, fine. Do we want to see like Kurt Cobain like making techno? Like, no, like it never ages well. Especially when death is not involved. It's better to burn out than fade away.
Well, speaking of definitely burning out, so Jessica Jones season 3 is coming out with the entire, because that's part of they're going full in on this. Is the final season. This is it. They have gone full in on this, and it's going to be the end of all of the Marvel stuff that is going away on Netflix. Does it change the way you feel about the season going in? I'm a huge Jessica Jones fan. I really liked it, but honestly, part of me might just, it's not going to be an appointment television for me to see the season now.
Yeah, I mean, my interest in Daredevil certainly plummeted when
Yeah.
I found out, like, that's it. So no matter what, that's it. And I feel bad for Jessica Jones because they're bringing up the rear as far as, like, the writing is on the wall. Like, no matter what they do, this is it. Maybe that's liberating. I don't know. I don't know at
Maybe.
what point in this whole process they were able to determine that. But I think it does kill some interest as far as, like, what's going to happen. Because even if it's great,
Yeah.
that's going to be it. Yeah.
I mean, not for me, because these, especially the Netflix stuff, I pretty early on realized that while they might tie in with each other, they're really not going to have any bearing on Marvel stuff as a whole. Like, they were pretty self-contained aside
Yeah.
from the Defenders, obviously. Like Jessica Jones season 1, I think is a fantastic season of television, and it just deals. There's a little Luke Cage sprinkled in there, but it's a self-contained story, and they're great at telling her story, and she's awesome in it. So yeah, why not? I'm still on board
Okay, so it doesn't temper anything for you. You're still totally down.
for this. Yeah.
Awesome. What about you, Ed?
For me, I never thought Jessica Jones was long for this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I enjoy her for the incandescent Roman candle that she is. You know. Whereas with Daredevil, I also appreciated the last season because, you know, I'm in the super minority, I know, as always. But I think what people think The Dark Knight is, I think that last season of Daredevil is a big procedural about a vigilante and his quest to fit actual regular justice in with vigilante justice and the conflicts therein and having to work within the framework but then work out of it, and a criminal that just seems to be too big to be beat and all that kind of jazz. The third season of Daredevil is that the sacrifice play, type of narrative. So I just personally, I didn't get too attached, but I'm also of a weird opinion that I think TV should be short, but I think since we're the golden age of TV, they should just make so much TV that people don't notice that they're going from job to job. It's not a gig economy necessarily. You know what I mean? Because I think we're going to see more and more of this. We're going to see more and more of this as people start to make standards. Netflix don't even release their numbers and they're canceling stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and as more of these places need more content so that they can justify having separate streaming services, you got to start just throwing stuff against the wall. Some of it's going to stick, some of it isn't. Yeah, the second chance thing is another thing that's also weird that we were talking about with kind of the pinging and the ponging. I felt really bad for One Day at a Time, the way that went down with Netflix.
Well, because Netflix
that really
was
bummed
like,
me
trust
out.
us. Mm-hmm. I full disclosure, I didn't watch the show, but I know that I know that it had a very faithful fan following, and that's the one case where I felt bad for the fans because it wasn't just that Netflix canceled the show; it was that like they were so like, this is your home. Like this Netflix is the home for a show like this. We don't care about the numbers. Like we're about the message and the power of this show. We love this show. And then it's like, well, whatever, it's canceled. Like, well, wait, you just said that this was the place for us. And nope, never mind.
Well, and this thing that I don't want to just blame Netflix, but it seems to me like it's coming that Netflix is really encouraging kind of these bring back our show, and if you can get the fans to go online and get it trending and do this and do that, then maybe you'll have a chance. I really don't like this idea of encouraging creators to make their fans beg for them online.
It's sad.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's a really big bummer. And then when it doesn't get picked up, and now you've spent 2 months like a jackass begging people like, please enjoy my things so that everyone has jobs. It just feels really demeaning. I don't know.
Because it used to be, if you sent peanuts to a studio, you didn't have to tell anybody about it. You didn't do it publicly. You could send peanuts to a studio to save your show, and you could choose to disclose that or not. Yeah. But now there's this pressure to be like, the only way to save this show is for you to like make a public stand, and it's like I get like it can be inspiring, but at the same time it is putting the onus a lot of times. Like you never want your fans to feel like they failed.
Right.
Or like, I didn't work hard enough. Like it's ultimately like, on very rare occasions will it work. 95% of the time it doesn't work, and I don't think anyone should have to feel like they failed or they weren't passionate enough about something to save it. It's like it's money, it's studio politics, it's so many different things that don't have to do with fandom, lowercase f. I always feel bad when a show doesn't, and that there are fans out there that are like, I tried so hard.
Yeah, and like your fans aren't the problem. It's the people you didn't convert into fans that is why your show's getting canceled.
Well, no, you guys are definitely very right that it's almost like in an effort to involve the fans as like, hey, you're part of this. You've also damned them with this responsibility that they did not earn in either sense of the word.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They got jobs.
Right.
to have people. It's like you said with the Starbucks thing where it's, hashtag bring back whatever at the Starbucks cup. What does that do for anyone that you make the Starbucks barista, these poor overworked baristas with good retirement packages from what I hear, that you make them say the name of the show out loud in a coffee shop and then you post about it?
Yeah, that's where we are as a society. Most of the public sphere is what we get baristas to say out loud. Like,
but also
Trump good. Like, got him. Like, we did it.
Got him.
Got him.
But look at this. Like it's like an Ouroboros, right? That snake that eats its own tail. It's like, okay, when they were trying to save Chuck, according to the script here, when they were trying to save Chuck, people had to buy Subway sandwiches and say, hey, this is for Chuck, buddy. This ham on rye or whatever. It's for Chuck.
It's for you, Chuck.
You know what I mean? This jalapeno bread that tastes like a yoga mat is for Chuck. You know what I mean?
It smells so much better than it tastes. I don't understand.
I go to Subway so much, but the bread tastes like styrofoam. But I don't understand why I keep going.
If I could have the cologne that was just Subway bread, I would wear it, but I don't want to eat it.
Well, yeah. So it's like somebody. Eat fresh. So somebody goes into a Subway and has so basically capitalism is your way of solving a capitalistic. It's like capitalism on capitalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The solution to this particular capitalism that didn't go my way is more capitalism. That's just nuts. That seems really weird.
It
it's like
work.
A trick.
Yeah.
It's like greeting cards or something. Don't get me started on the greeting cards.
Don't get me started on
I'm
greeting
sorry.
cards. Well, and and for some of these, it did work. Brooklyn Nine-Nine was brought back. I think it definitely didn't hurt that it had so many really famous people who were tweeting about it and saying things. Lin-Manuel Miranda tweeting about it at least once a day. And so that one came back, but now it's on a new network, which I think may be a better fit.
But NBC already owned it. I mean, that's the other thing. Is like, I mean, it's great that there were a lot of fans of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but like part of the reason why it went to NBC was because it was already being produced by people closely associated with NBC, so it was a natural fit. And I think that's a case where a lot of people will be like, see, the fan thing worked. And I agree. I'm sure that helped. But there's also so much going on behind that as far as like, it's got a proven fan base and it's already part of the family.
Yeah.
So let's put it on 30 minutes. There's very little that's worked on NBC lately. So why not put Brooklyn Nine-Nine in
And
there?
look at the people who work on Brooklyn Nine-Nine and sold Brooklyn Nine-Nine and developed it. It's Parks and Rec people. It's real Godfathered in. You know what I mean?
SNL, yeah.
They're not about to walk in that room and see a bunch of tarps on the floor. You know what I mean? They're going to survive that meeting when they go in to pitch their show.
So, obviously, we talked about some of the recent cancellations. What cancellations in history have kind of gotten to you that really affected you? Or is there any?
The Sarah Connor Chronicles. I was very upset. I followed that show, and that show actually. I hate when a show is paying for the mistakes of its past because it got off to kind of a rocky start, but it was hitting its peak when it got canceled.
Right.
But I liked it. I liked where they had gone with it. They left it at like a really interesting place, and it is. I know Roth is a big fan of it too. Like it is the best Terminator thing made since Terminator 2 was that TV show. It had some bumps in the road, but it also had some really good parts. And I was bummed out when they canceled that.
For me, it is a show that, in retrospect, crafted my own comedic sensibilities as much as anything else. Clone High. It is Lord and Miller got to make one season of this, and it enraged the Indian government so much because of their portrayal as Gandhi through a very bizarre series of events where, like, first Maxim magazine published an unrelated. This is very early 2000s. Maxim magazine published an unrelated article about like self-defense, and like the like image they used was like a guy beating up Gandhi, like screw pacifism, like here's how to defend yourself against Gandhi or whatever. The Indian government or like cultural conservatives there were like, oh, don't do Gandhi like that. And then like this same group got word that like this MTV show was coming out where Gandhi was like a funky teen. And they're like, how dare you? And they literally surrounded the hotel of an MTV executive in India with like a hunger strike, not hunger strike, but like silence and prayer and like shame on you. And he was like, what the hell? Like this is not worth the trouble, and the show got canceled.
Wow.
It's genius. For whatever, I think, of course the show hadn't come out in India, because if it had come out, this is not Gandhi. This is a secret government program to clone all of the famous world leaders, past and present, but they have to raise them from babies. So they all go to this self-contained high school run by a mad scientist and a robot Mr. Belvedere called Mr. Butlertron. And it's brilliant. It's like Lord and Miller distilled into its like purest form of like meta comedy and just like really fast, funny jokes. And they've said that their entire career is a path to get Clone High back on the air.
Every time that any of us have done a junket with them, our fans are always like, can you just throw in a Clone High question really quick? Just like anything. I remember I wound up having to ask them about Clone High when we were doing the Spider-Verse junket, and they were very happy to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, super psyched to talk about it. What about you, Ed?
I can't follow that. That's great. Gandhi, jeez Louise. But I will say most of the things that I gotta say most of the shows I like do end up lasting as long as they're supposed to last, in my personal opinion, including things like Community and stuff. But I will say that there's certain wrong-headed, like, why did you even try to do this show? Because you guys were on failure road from the zygote. You know what I mean? Like, this was going to fail. Why did you even try to do this? And the one example where it hurt me was the NBC reboot of Knight Rider. where Knight Rider was a Mustang that could also change into a truck. Not the one that had a truck and a Mustang and a Banshee and that for the 90s. Not that.
Okay.
The one they had on NBC, and it was Michael Knight's son. Who was trying to discover he was his son, but he was obviously his son. He had a big goofy jawline, and he was the hero. And so, like, he's in the car, and it's not even a Camaro, and it's like this. And I think the guy who was doing Kit's voice was like on his last legs or dead. So they got this weird other voice. It seems like, or like
Mr. Feeney's just fine.
Oh, there you go. So there you go. So I don't know. So
Unless someone has some really bad news for me.
Well, good. I'm very glad I'm wrong about that, but it just wasn't. It didn't go. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't have the magic. The whole thing didn't have the magic. Even the performance of the car didn't have the magic for some reason, and it just sucked. And I knew that was gonna suck. I saw him as a Mustang. I saw the way they were shooting it. I saw it was just so bad. I was like, this is so destined for cancellation. It didn't surprise me. It didn't shock me. It didn't hurt me. It hurt me that they tried.
Oh, buddy.
Should have done Night Boat.
Night Boat would have did better.
There's always an inlet.
There's always an inlet.
I would have gotten down with Night Boat. One that really, so Angel for me, it wasn't a show that I was super into for most of its run, but during season 5, I think because it was in a weird period where Firefly had already been canceled and Buffy was done, and so everyone who was working on those shows just had this show to focus on. And so season 5 was really good, and it was meant to be a jumping on point for people who were going to be joining the show after Buffy was over. And I thought that it was just really, really well done. And so when they canceled it, one thing that was nice is they did it with enough time for them to be able to wrap the show up, so it actually does feel like it has an ending. But I will say that Angel Season 5 is one of the best seasons of television ever. Don't at me.
I was a Jericho head.
Yeah?
I didn't send Peanuts, but I did watch Jericho, and that was one that came back for a very short second season. But that was probably about right for that show. Because again, how long could they have sustained it?
Right.
I was just glad that they got an ending. And The Mole. Anyone watch The Mole?
No.
I vaguely remember The Mole.
The Mole really was a great concept. Bust it.
The Mole was a great reality TV concept that only got like 4
Pop it,
seasons.
D-Man.
In the early, thank you. In the early 2000s, you had 8 strangers or 8 celebrities. They did like 2 seasons of each, and basically there was a pot of money. I think it was like half a million, $500,000. That was like the maximum amount of money that you could win. And each episode you had to work collectively as a team to win these challenges, and each challenge was worth a certain amount of money that would go toward the pot of money that everybody would win at the end. But one person on the team was the mole, meaning they were there to sabotage everything and try to keep them from winning the maximum amount. So like they're working in league with the producers.
Right.
But the great thing about it, I know, the great thing about it is the show did not tell you who the mole was, which was what made it great. Was you were, and nowadays they would.
Yeah.
They tell you who the mole was in the first episode, and it would all be about like the drama, like everything. No, you were playing right along, and so like every time somebody messed something up, you and the people playing the game would be like, are they incompetent or are they playing me? Are they tricking me? And at the end of every episode, the way that you eliminated people was you would have to take a quiz on who the mole was.
Oh.
Is it a man? What were they in the first group of the challenge or the second part of the challenge? And whoever knew the least about the mole would get eliminated.
Oh.
And you go all the way to the end of the show, and then if you figured out who the mole was, you'd win.
Well, there's only 2 people left.
I think there was 3 people left.
Okay.
I forget the end game of it. But you had to like guess who the mole was. But like the show itself, I'm sure if you go back, it's very early 2000s. But like it's such a good concept, and there's so many of the same concept shows that survived for longer. Like, Amazing Race is great, but it's just people running around and yelling at each other, and it has been for 20 years. And The Mole was actually an interesting show, and I don't know why they canceled it.
I think Survivor.
It's still going in the Netherlands.
Going in some other countries.
It's called Der Mole there.
Der Mole. But yeah, I think Survivor ate that.
Money.
Yeah, I think Survivor ate that show's lunch because Survivor has duplicity and nakedness and games and puzzles and duplicity.
Yeah.
But Survivor should, and I've been saying this for a long time, Survivor should take some lessons from The Mole and they should keep their audience in the dark about more stuff. Like there's like 800 hidden immunity idols on the island now, and you always see somebody find it. And so when there's a tribal council and someone's going to play a hidden immunity idol, there's no suspense if you're watching the show because you know who has them and you know they're going to play them. If the show would just stop showing you who actually found hidden immunity idols, so you as a viewer were watching at home and you didn't know if somebody had one, that ups the suspense 100%. But now they all got to tell you everything. It's stupid. The Mole, hosted by Anderson Canal. Great Mole Talk. True.
On this episode of Mole Talk,
It has to be hosted by somebody with a prominent mole, though.
Yeah.
That has to be the host.
Could be
That
a whole
totally
different show.
knows.
Radford, yeah.
show. How about this mole? Should I get this checked out?
And just one correction. Yes, fans and friends, I am sorry that I said Godfather and then I said a Goodfellas reference right after that. I'm very aware that they're two different movies, but Godfather then and then the Mafia thing, I thought that was a valid connection. Also, William Daniels, alive. Mr. Feeney, the actor who played Mr. Feeney. William Daniels is alive, so you can erase your YouTube comments about that thing. Talk about the other things that I did, but those two things, you can erase those. All right.
Well, no, and so we talked about some of the ones that came back. So a big one for me that also broke my heart, which I feel better now, was Veronica Mars. Huge Veronica Mars fan. I loved everything about it. I mean, obviously because I like Buffy, and this feels like it was definitely a version of Buffy, it felt like, but without the superpowers. Her only superpower is a stun gun and, a sarcastic mouth. But it dealt more with what was happening, class issues and all that stuff. And so they had a campaign to bring them back. They had the movie, which was fine. It was fun. And now they have the show that's coming out on Hulu, which I am stupid excited for. I think that's going to fare better than any of the times they tried to bring Community back. That was one of those ones where it just felt like when you have Kool-Aid or some kind of juice, and then maybe you didn't make enough, and you have to put in more water.
Watered it down a little too much.
Well, because you lose Chevy Chase, and so okay, then you bringing in people to fill in that gap, but then you also lose Donald Glover, and then you're bringing in even more people. It's just like that show was so much about that group of people specifically and how they bounced off each other.
And I think Yvette Nicole Brown was the next to go, and that should have been. And then they kept trying to go after that, and that really should have been the end.
You went to Yahoo Screen, and then, but at the end of it, it's just like, I love the people behind the show, and I love this show so much, but it's just not what it was.
Another one that got torn apart by its own success was Party Down with Adam Scott and Jane Lynch, I think, bailed in the second season.
Yeah, for Glee.
For Glee. And it only lasted 2 seasons. I don't know if do people outside of Los Angeles like this show?
I didn't live in Los Angeles when I watched it.
It feels so specific of people who want to be actors but need and screenwriters and directors or whatever, but they need a day job, so they're begrudgingly doing a service for other people. It just seems very specific to here, but I loved it so much.
I didn't realize how much of a thing it was until I moved here and had friends where they were like, okay, well, cool, I'm gonna go shoot my car commercial, and then at 6 I've got to go put on my, I've got to go put on my whites because I've got to go cater this rich person's party. That's a very real thing.
Yeah, and I remember there being just great cameos because each episode is a different party that they're catering, and J.K. Simmons' daughter is one of them, and he's throwing her a Sweet 16 that no one shows up to, and Ken Jeong and George Takei are doing a gay wedding, and there's just so many great people episode to episode, but they lost most of this crew after the second season to their own success.
A lot of people from Veronica Mars, because that was the same creator.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's the creator of both of them. His name is Rob Thomas.
Yes, yes it is.
Not that Rob Thomas.
Not Rob Box 20.
So smooth.
And also we've got the Deadwood movie. Is that already out? Did that happen?
It's premiered. It's coming out soon.
Yeah, I don't think it's already out yet because I feel but I know I've been seeing a lot of people in the timeline who have been doing some catching up. Did any of you guys big Woodheads?
I never watched Deadwood. I never watched Deadwood.
Yeah, I wasn't, because at that time I think I was rebelling against Westerns because of my dad. Longtime Screen Junkies watchers will know that my dad made me watch wrestling. Watch wrestling, watch Westerns.
Yeah.
So it kind of soured me. It was like, that's my daddy's thing.
But it's not your daddy's Western.
Yeah, I know, and that's the irony.
Person.
Yeah, that's the irony, and I loved what I've heard about it. So, and I've watched shows similar that have kind of bit off of Deadwood style. So I would love to go back to the source.
Yeah.
I know.
The movie did come out, by the way.
It did come
Okay,
out.
so it
Never
is
mind,
out. Yeah.
I know precisely one thing about Deadwood, which is that they use the cork soaker a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Ian
what you think of.
McShane swears. Is
I'd
all I
watch
know
it.
about that
Yeah,
show.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And then there's also the shows that have kept going, like Supernatural is a show that I forgot was still on the air.
Wow.
And then I found out they were still on the air because someone linked me. They did a crossover with Scooby-Doo last season. This is real.
man.
They really did a cartoon crossover with Scooby-Doo in Supernatural. Like, this is a real...
That's when you're fully out of ideas, like when the Globetrotters show up.
Zoinks.
Sweet Lou's finding ghosts in the haunted basketball court.
Scoop doop 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 doop. Hey, where's that come from? Diddly dee. What? Doop doop doop.
Yeah,
The referee.
Why don't you cool off? Confetti.
One of these days, I'm going to get my 30 for 30 about the Washington Generals produced.
Oh yeah.
It's my dream.
Yeah.
It is my dream documentary. Just think about how great it was. Like, you're this guy and you've been training all of your life. You're like the best basketball player in town. You go to college, you do all the things. You don't wind up getting drafted. And then, like, you just have to take it while someone teabags you while spinning a ball.
But I was under the impression that, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe this is just my headcanon, that they are like the understudies for the Globetrotters. That like,
That makes me feel happier.
I think that they might be like, if a Globetrotter can't go that day, like one of the generals comes, they're like their understudies.
I've
in a play.
decided that that's what it is now, because
Yeah.
that makes me feel better.
Like they're studying the moves so that they can one day, the headband will be passed.
I just think of that one episode of The Simpsons where Krusty's a degenerate gambler. He bet everything on the Washington. Hey, we're due. Look at him. He's just spinning the ball on his finger. Come on.
But I will say this, though. People don't know this. There's at least 10 times, 10, 15, maybe more than that times in the Globetrotter history where the Generals have won the game. And them winning the game has caused meltdowns in the Harlem Globetrotters locker room of just like, because it's obviously a bad performance by them if they lost.
Yeah.
Get it together. Except you, Washington Generals. You're my favorite people in the whole wide world now.
Would your movie be or whatever be about like one of those games that they won, like the improbabilities
30 for 30.
that
Yeah.
one of those
The day the hoop dreams died. But yes, it definitely. I don't know. Maybe it's just the wrestling fan in me. I'm always going to go for the jobber.
I do know that the trailer would have the sad version of the Globetrotters whistle theme, like the minor key version.
Oh, just like hummed.
Sorry, my lips are dry.
It totally would.
Oh, you know what's not dry is that SJU is now Phantom
It's slick.
Entertainment.
Nice.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell, ring-a-ding-ding. Thank you, Ryan, on that cue. And then you will get all of the notifications of our stuff as it goes on the YouTubes. We've got some really good stuff going on Fandom.com right now. Eric Goldman did a great article about Galaxy's Edge called Galaxy's Edge offers a big Star Wars twist to Disneyland's food and drink. He got to go to Galaxy's Edge. He ate the food. He drank the drinks. They were blue.
I mean, say something for the article, Danielle.
Sorry. Spoils.
This churro has blue food coloring in it. It's a lightsaber.
Pew, 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 pew. Oh, my mouth. It's so cinnamony. He was also in a documentary about fans coming together to save shows that they love called United We Fan. You can find that on Amazon. The links are in the description. Speaking of things that are coming to Amazon, this is via Slash Film.
Put it in my veins.
I'm just... Fred Durst directed a movie with John Travolta that has times been both called Moose and the Fanatic. And now it's going to be going to Amazon. yes, that's
directed a
right.
movie. He's directed many movies.
He has.
actually.
I looked up. I was shocked. The Education of Charlie Banks he directed, which was like a critically acclaimed movie. I underestimated his skills as a movie director.
Well, this was originally supposed to be shown at Cannes, or Cannes, and I guess I was gonna make
It's just can.
I was gonna make a joke about that, but now that you've looked up that he does have this impressive filmography,
Well, hang on.
Yeah, there's the Nookie video.
Yeah, he directed the Mission
long shots
Impossible
with
cover
Ice
video.
Cube, Charlie Banks in this movie.
Yeah, he did Stains. It's been a while. He's done a lot of.
He did Stains. It's been a while.
Yeah, he
the
directed
video.
that video.
Wow,
Yeah.
I remember that with all the candles.
There's so many nice candles.
Nice.
Like, yeah, that's
So-
a grunge fire hazard.
More candles.
Long sleeves and candles. It was a time. So, yeah, this is going to be going up on Amazon on June 29th. I will be there. John Travolta's character is called Moose, which is why no one knows what the name of this movie is. It's we don't know.
Uh-oh.
So the Fanatic is on. Wow, hold on. So the Fanatic is on all the promotional material.
Is he simple jacking us in this
Oh
movie?
no!
This
Oh,
this looks crazy. Oh
I
no!
mean, look at that.
is that his best wig?
Well, the question is it canonically is it a diegetic wig? Is what I'm asking.
Right.
Is this supposed
Right.
to be a wig in the movie, or, yeah?
Right.
Because the cat's out of the bag. He sort of dropped this whole pretense of
Having hair?
having a full head of
Oh,
hair.
thank God. It's fine.
Yeah, I've
He's
seen him
done
in
a few
interviews.
roles with
he's
the-
usually wearing a hat, but he's got
Yeah.
like some stubble going there. But
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, that was something. So my first question is, what is this?
He's apparently obsessed with an action star who I believe is played by the '90s Devon Sawa.
Yeah,
Oh.
I thought it was a horror. He's a horror movie fan or star or something like that.
Oh, that would
Yeah,
make sense.
Maybe a
'cause-
horror star, some kind of genre.
Devon
star. I
Sawa, that would make
apologize. I
sense,
did
yeah.
I did 2000s as well. I shouldn't say the 90s. They had a multi-generational appeal. Yeah, it's like the Robert De Niro movie, The Fan,
Yeah.
Yeah.
only about movie people.
Uh-huh.
As far as I understand.
Ed, how many times are you going to see this movie on Amazon?
Never. No, you know what? I don't want to diss it because of a couple of still photos and stuff. You know, I'm notorious about like, hey man, let's just cool our jets. But geez Louise, I think we are the second part of the story, whatever you want to get to it. But like, I feel like this is that thing where it's obvious that y'all fools thought maybe you could release this as a real deal movie. And then
Thank God it came out.
It became very apparent that SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
This is not going to go down. And then so you dump it onto Amazon, which has comedy specials from people you'll never see that are self-uploaded. It's you know what I
It's
mean.
true.
It's got all kind of jazz on there.
So
it
many
just sort of-
places to dump now, though. There's so many places to take a dump with your movie. There's really, you know, if you strike out on theatrical distribution, there are so many places that are like Quibu.com. Like you get
Yeah.
to bid on TVs and also watch our streaming service. Like everyone has a place or a budget.
Vudu,
Yeah,
Crackle.
Voodoo, Crackle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I
Yeah.
am looking forward to the tweet from Amazon's official account that says Amazon Prime subscribers love the Fanatic. Critics put out the hit.
Dan, you would know this. So, has JT, John Travolta, my best friend,
Yeah.
has he done anything in between Gotti and this?
Yeah.
Was the last
the
thing
race
Gotti-
car movie, right? Like
think
Trading Paint.
He's got a movie, I believe it's called Trading Paint, that's out now or coming
Yeah,
out now. Or
I got
came
another
out
VOD
recently.
thing.
He theatrically no. But yes, he and Bruce Willis.
They are workers.
Always.
Yeah, can we
working.
can we
Came out in
Came out in
February. Thank you.
February.
can we talk about this new economy of like you were a megastar, but now I can get you and talk to some foreign guys and secure some money, and now I have a movie economy. It's been going on for a long time. Samuel Jackson's been in it. As a star,
Nick
he was
Cage?
still in it. Nick Cage, Mandy. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you'll get a Mandy out of it, which I personally think is a work of art, even though it's flawed and weird and everything, but it's a work of art. It's not just some trash you dump on something.
Yeah.
It got a limited little release. I saw it at the Egyptian and with a Q&A with the director and stuff. It's an event. It's a thing. So it's like there is this economy of these dumped out movies, but occasionally one will be good, in my personal opinion, like Mandy. And you'll be like, it's gonna get. It should get harder and harder to tell the trash from the good stuff, but I don't know if you're sitting on a pile of trash, does anybody even look in there to see that you're good? If you know what I'm saying.
There's a certain iconography that you reach that,
Right.
that cannot be like. It doesn't matter how many of these movies John Travolta does, good, bad, or indifferent, but stuff on Prime or whatever. he will always be Grease and Saturday Night Fever, John
Right.
Travolta to a lot of people. Like Bruce Willis will always have Die Hard. He can do 18,000 awful whatever movies. He will they're like John McClane will never go away. I've said that about, if you look at people like De Niro and Pacino, they both hit a thing where they're like, listen, I've got The Godfather and whatever Scarface. Like those are forever. Like I'm gonna make some money for once in my life, and I'm gonna do
for once in your life,
Simone.
though. That's the thing that just trips me out, because like they have all the money they'll ever need many times over before the 2010s. They've spent the last 10 years.
But Robert De Niro never had Meet the Parents money until Meet the Parents. I'm talking about like Rocky and Bullwinkle money. I'm talking
about Dunkachino
I'm
money.
talking Dunkachino money. I am talking
Yeah.
Paid, capital P, paid, not paid in respect, not paid on the back end. Like I'm gonna make $5-10 million a movie right now today, because they know that there's stuff that they've done that'll never go away, and we laugh and whatever. But I'm never gonna be as famous.
And that
as Robert De
70s
Niro.
money,
So
that
who's the real
70s
winner?
money and 80s money is spent a billion times over. Some of them got ex-wives, ex-everythings.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Vineyards,
so it's like,
yeah.
Robert De Niro
ex-vineyards. Exactly.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro has been running through black chicks.
He bought Tribeca.
He bought It's true. Robert De Niro likes black
Yeah,
bitches. That's just
straight
a
from the
thing.
70s.
We were watching.
Before it was cool. He was
I was
getting in
watching
there.
Jackie Brown the other day, and he has a scene where like he is entertaining, and I turned to Mara and I was just like, did you know? Like that, just by way of knowing, like that is just a fact about Robert De Niro that a lot of people don't know.
I heard about this. This is such a wild tangent. I heard about this on the WTF podcast when he had Robin Williams on, because he was talking about how they were filming a movie together. I have to be very careful with my language here. And they were doing a car scene, and just some random like black dude comes up to him and was like, hey Bobby, you still like black meow, and just like he yelled that, and that's how I learned that was a thing.
Bobby. Say, Jim. You still like, but yeah, that's a bad outfit. Anyway,
Oh, it'd be great if it was the same guy. The same guy who played that part in Superman. It's the guy who yelled at Robert De Niro on the street.
If you know that guy, if he was your dad, let us know in the comments down below.
That is one of the most iconic two-line performances in cinema history. Woo!
Oh, and I have derailed the show successfully. What that means it is time for us to go. Thank you all so much. We will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to check out all of the wonderful things that are down in the description. And that's it. I'm done. I have no other ways to not cuss.
Yeah.
Meow.
Everything's gone.
Bye.
meow, everybody.